Welcome. It is no accident that you have found your way to the Release the Genie podcast. What would you do with 3 wishes? And what if you discovered that you are in fact that very genie that could grant them? Well, join us now as we discover who our next genie is as we listen in and learn the stories of triumph, inspiration, and passion with some very special guests. And now, without further delay, your host of the Release the Genie podcast, Mr. Paul Rogers.
That's so much better. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're tuning in from. I am your host, Paul Rogers, and welcome to another episode of Release the Genie. I have a wonderful, wonderful genie with us today. I am going to say her name without getting my teeth back to front this time. Aanchal Vash. I think I got that. Yeah, nailed it. This lady is quite something. She is a best-selling author, success strategies, co-authored with Jack Canfield. That name must ring a bell. The chicken soup for the soul. And a thought leadership award. I mean, those type of awards, they're not given out very much. So that's amazing. Founder and CEO of Reach Out Together, which I will let Aanchal talk about. A beautiful person with a fantastic energy. I bring you today the wonderful Genie, Aanchal. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Paul. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor to be here.
To be honest, you will show everyone, including me, that actually the honor is ours. So let's get into a little bit more. So I've set the scene for you. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Hello once again. My name's Aanchal Vash. I'm from Toronto. I was born in India, raised in Nigeria for 17 years, and I moved to Toronto, Canada to pursue undergraduate studies. And simultaneously, I went to college for a diploma. And ever since then, I've been working within the digital ad tech industry. And about 5 years ago, I quit a job I was very happy at. It was financially doing very well. There was a lot of room for personal growth, professional growth, but I wanted to venture out and help other people from different communities maintain positive mental health. I wanted to go out there and educate different communities about mental health versus mental illness, signs and symptoms, talk about certain mental illnesses that prevail, in different cultures, and really, really talk about treatments, professional help that exists. And so I ventured out. I got mental health first aid certified with the Mental Health Commission of Canada, started hosting community events in Calgary, in Toronto, in San Francisco, LA, Lagos, Nigeria, different parts of India, just to see if the community, cares about what I'm trying to put out there. And the response was actually really, really good, Paul. Just to see people care. A lot of the youth was really interested, not just the youth, the seniors were interested in breaking stigma that they grew up in. And we got there was this one time we held an event in Calgary where we got a shout out from the mayor of Calgary for one of the events we held. And that was very, very encouraging. And then eventually I actually registered this community initiative legally here in Canada under the name Reach Out Together Foundation.
That is just, what a beautiful story to get to what you're doing now. And that you wouldn't have been able to do that just by sitting and waiting for that to come to you. You had to go out there and fight for it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. And what I really was struck by there, it's not just the youth, it's the seniors as well. That seems to be the people we forget.
Yeah. Like at the beginning, we used to always end our every single event with doing a video shoot where we would bring in attendees who wanted to be interviewed very little interviews. It could be for a minute, 3 minutes, depending on what they're willing to share. And we would just ask them questions post the event. What was your experience? Did you feel comfortable? Did you speak to someone regarding your own mental health? Did you share with people? And the feedback was absolutely incredible, especially from the seniors that, we were hosting mental health workshops for, because our workshops, our educational trainings are not just educational. They are always interactive and they're experiential. We don't believe in just speaking. We want you to feel it, because that's where the transformation occurs. So all of our events were very interactive, where we had little exercises in person for seniors to do with each other. And it helped break stigma in real time and made them realize that they're truly not alone. When they were able to connect with other individuals on a deeper level by just sharing their journey. When other people were sharing, in the sharing, they realized that they're not alone, that everyone has their own journey, that they're working through, they're growing through. And yeah, that's really where it started for us to realize that not just the youth, but the seniors too, they're looking, everyone wants to heal, right? Everyone wants to feel good. And so it's been 4 years of doing this work, and it's been incredible, still learning every single day.
I love it, because it's a community within a community which you're building. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I did tell you from the top that this was going to be amazing, and already how many minutes in, we're hitting the high notes. So let me take you then to what has been, and I'm pretty sure you have more than one, an aha release the Genie moment.
What is the aha Genie? All right, that's beautiful. I've had several, Paul, to be honest. I think, it's life experiences. And for me, I would say it was that moment where I was doing my certification with the Mental Health Commission of Canada, which is the mental health first aid certification. And while I was sitting in class and I was listening, going through all the case studies, it became evident to me. It was in that moment, it just made sense to me that I lost my twin brother to an undetected mental illness on July 12th, 2016. So this year is going to mark 5 years since he left us. He passed away by suicide, and it was sitting there in class. It just made sense to me that our community was not aware. We did not offer the right support for his healing, because there is so much stigma in our culture, and none of us were taught about the basics of mental health versus mental illness. We all have mental health, but it's about whether you have positive mental health or poor mental health, right? And if you're waking up not feeling good, that doesn't mean you have an illness, right? It just means you woke up not feeling very good, and there are activities that you can put into your day to get yourself to feel good. But it all starts with self-awareness. But after a prolonged period of time, if you're still feeling certain symptoms, chances are you may have developed an illness. And all of these learnings, learning about specific disorders, the signs and symptoms, not that I was diagnosing my brother, but it became evident to me that he truly went undiagnosed. He was truly suffering, not just my twin brother, but I think I was able to go back in time and, connect certain dots for people in my communities and how their behavior over the years changed, becoming more isolated, a bit, snappy. Like there's certain symptoms that I could now recognize in people, for me to now know that our culture really lacks education. They lack awareness. And that was my aha moment. That was the moment where I became fired up within me, and I became relentless in hosting community events. I set a goal that once a month we are going to host a workshop. And I ended up actually putting those dates in my calendar. I had a document. I wrote down every month what date and what time we're going to host it. And then we did it. We made it happen. That was the beginning of it all.
That is amazing on so many different levels, but discovering that there is this whole community who miss out, who fall between the gaps of education. I mean, that's eye-opening stuff.
Yeah, it truly was. I really believe that education creates awareness. And when you are aware, you're able to recognize certain things that you may have missed out on earlier. And for me, I'm not going to say statements like, we could have saved the Shar, my twin brother. I don't want to say that because, it's done. I can't go back in time. But do I wish I had this education, this knowledge before? I do, because I believe I and my family who loved him so much, we could have created a more supportive environment for him of healing, telling him things like, it's not your fault, that, everything you're experiencing is normal in a way, like there is help available, or saying things like, I'm so sorry that this happened to you, or you're feeling this way. Whenever you're ready, I love to help, support, or if you're, or just, acknowledging that pain itself will encourage the other person to now want to pursue other supports and help, right? So there's a different way of how do you respond to someone who's experiencing a challenge. And that education, that training is what now I am advocating for to help. I want to help heal the world, Paul. Person by person, community by community.
There is nothing wrong with wanting to heal the world. You don't aim small, you aim as big as you possibly can. And there's the well-known, if your dreams scare you, then that's where we are.
Love it. Love it.
So here we go. That was a nice lead in. Oh my goodness. To what is one of your inspiring quotes or mantras which you turn to?
I actually create one every year, depending on what I'm looking to accomplish within me. So last year, I was saying the statement, which was, I am the possibility of integrity, respect, and self-transformation, on repeat to a point where I had it written out. I would read it day in and day out, because the truth is that anything is possible, right? So my statement would start with, I am the possibility of integrity, respect, and self-transformation. Which is, integrity is, if you're going to say something, do it and do it well. Otherwise, don't do it at all. Come from a place of service, that I want everything I do, I put my heart into it. And respect is, respect yourself. I think when you're able to respect yourself, you will be just naturally respect everything else that you're doing. And transformation is transforming my quality of life, transforming the world, person by person, community by community. This year, I am repeating this to myself, that I am the change, and change starts with me.
Wow. Guys, take a notepad, because that is fire. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is amazing stuff. Wow. Well, look, now we're going to turn to one of the challenges. What has been sort of one, you may have touched on this already, one of the setbacks which you've had to overcome?
I'm going to go back in time, Paul, and share something new, something different. I would say one of the challenges that I had to overcome was when I was 13 years old. I was in Nigeria, Lagos, and I grew up in a family that was extremely loving. Everything my parents did was to support their children. And at the age of 13, my older brother passed away to malaria in Nigeria. And he was the gem of the family at that time, right? Because we were 3 children. He was the older one, and I had my twin brother. And my older brother was just so intelligent. He was so emotionally intelligent. Let me reword that. And I believe that he was that person because he was an avid reader. He had a library full of books from a very young age. And he became sort of like my mentor growing up. He would pretend to be a teacher and pretend that he's on a blackboard and write things to teach my twin brother and I, basic concepts. And I grew up, like I mentioned, a very loving home, but at the same time, it was an environment that had, my parents too have faced a lot of trauma. They grew up in India in a very small town. And what they must have experienced growing up, I can't even begin to fathom, right? Like they tried to do what they could for their children, but they really like went through their own set of challenges. And so they did the best they could. But yet I just want to, bring this up that they had a lot of limited beliefs, right? Being Indian raised in Nigeria, they were overly protective. But more than that, it was about, specific mindsets, like boys could do this, girls can't do this, for example. But my older brother created just a wonderful environment for me. As a girl growing up in Nigeria, there was nothing that I didn't do because of him. He got me and encouraged me to play any sport, whether I knew how to play it or not. Paul, I was out there playing it. I have won so many competitions growing up in my school because of him, because I believe he was just such a light in our world. He was sent for a reason, and I believe he was sent to awaken me and truly encourage me to believe in myself, whether I know how to do something or not. And so that was one of the big challenges that I believe I went through when I was 13 years old, was, losing my older brother, because I remember coming home, my twin and I, we were pulled out of one of our classes from school, and we were taken home in my principal's car. So that itself was a bit like, why are we going home in your car? My car is right here. And going home and entering the house full of people, mom and dad are crying right there in the living room. And my older brother wasn't home. And, I remember my parents came into the bedroom and into my bedroom, and they told us about Prashant, which is my older brother, who passed away by malaria. And I remember looking around. It seemed like everything was just so slow. It was one of those moments. My twin brother broke down. And I looked around, my mom was just crying, broken. It was just a very, very tough environment. But I think it was in that very moment, Paul, I decided that I want to make my parents proud. It just became a thing. I think I grew up in that very, very, very second. And for years to come after that, I did not see my parents smile. We stopped having food on the table. We stopped being a family in a way, because my parents were really broken up, with their first son. I can't even imagine what that feels like, right? To lose a child. And that too, at that time, it was like the gem of the house, who's so intelligent. He's perfect in every way. And I was like all into playing sports. As I said, he opened up the gates for me. So I pursued, and I started to take life a lot more seriously, at that age. I started to secretly, without telling anybody, I wrote down on a piece of paper that in grade 10, when I go to grade 10th standard, I don't know here, what you call it, but in 10th grade and in 12th grade, in 10th grade, I set a goal that I'm going to get an 80% average, because my brother was so intelligent, and 80% I know it's not much, but for me, I was so young and I was so playful. I always wanted to play sports. I was always out and about running around, just encouraging girls like me that you can play sports. You don't need to be shy. And I became the sports prefect of my school. I was just out there running around, encouraging young people.
You're a trailblazer, aren't you? I mean, you've been inspired, and they call it satori, which is instant awakening, and that is something which I think you certainly had there. And one of my questions I said is, who is your hero? And I kind of think that you've answered that already in a very beautiful way. Am I correct on that?
You are right, partly. And I actually love this question because I have gotten this once before and it's so thought provoking. Because here's the thing, Paul. You know those books in the library that my older brother grew up reading? They were chicken soup for the soul. All sorts of chicken soup for the soul. And guess who's the author of that?
Jack Canfield.
Jack Canfield. And now that I'm here in Canada, fought my way to come here. I didn't even come here initially. I didn't come here just because I'm like, oh, Canada's a great country. I came here because my older brother was about to come here. He was graduating from 12th standard. He was about to go to University of Toronto, and I fought my way to come here. I set a goal. I'm like, no matter what happens, I'm going to move to Canada. I actually came first in grade 12 because I had that written up. Grade 12 was 90%. I'm going to get 90%. I would read it every single day, visualize that I have gotten it. I topped my class. My parents are proud. I got the grades to go to Canada. And guess what? I did, right? Eventually, I did come first in my class. I did come to Canada. I brought my twin brother here with me. I did all of his paperwork and graduated, lost my twin brother to suicide, but I got this opportunity to be mentored with him. I filled out an application form. I got accepted into his academy called Train the Trainer. And I got an opportunity to co-author.
Yeah, nice. Look at that.
This book.
Look at that. Wow.
Like, what an opportunity. He is an incredible man and he inspires me every single day. Paul, so for me to answer this question, who may be my hero? Some days I feel like my hero was my older brother, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Then I feel like if it wasn't for Jack Canfield, I wouldn't be this person today, because in a way, everything that I feel like he learned was through his books, his stories, were so transformational. But then there's some days where I feel like I am my own hero.
Yep. I I was going to go there next. So, no, to be honest, I love how you actually, because I think you're the first person who has said, well, actually, depending on what day it is, I have different ones, which is actually something I think most people can resonate with. So that's a wonderful. Thank you so much for that, because that's awesome. What are you working on at the moment? Because I know you've got some big plans, and hey, you're a trailblazer. So tell us what you're working on at the moment.
Thank you for that question, Paul. I am working on something big. 2 projects that are really, really big right now. One is, since it's going to mark 5 years this July 12th, since my twin brother passed away, every year we celebrate July 12th as World Reach Out Together Day. It's a day where I channeled what happened into something extremely transformational. And it helps me, it helps people across the world. We raise awareness on World Reach Out Together Day on mental health, and we encourage people to pursue professional help and other supports. So we bring in experts, professionals, people with lived experience to normalize talking about mental health, to break the stigma in their culture and encourage outreach for help and supports. So this year marks 5 years of us celebrating World Reach Out Together Day. I use the word celebrating because, again, some years we get feedback from some of our attendees saying things like, I ripped out my suicide note that I had left for my family. I had written for my family. Like that, to each one of us, is so inspiring. And that's why I say we celebrate World Reach Out Together Day, because it's a day of encouragement. And yes, this year is going to be 5 years. So that's huge. Yeah. We're looking forward to the impact that we're able to make, especially given the pandemic. So that's one project. And the second project is I am writing a book, a second book. This is not co-authored with anyone. I am looking to write a book of my journey still defining what exactly it's going to cover. But yes, I want it to be about recovery, and I want to encourage people to keep persevering in the face of adversity. So these are two of my biggest projects right now that I'm working on.
Wow. I mean, where do you find time to sleep? I mean, that's
Sleep is non-negotiable, Paul. It's scheduled into the calendar. 8 hours of sleep is what I'm going to get so I can keep sustaining the work that brings me so much joy.
I mean, let's just walk back a bit. You were setting 90% when you were in grade 12. I hate to even think what the figure is now.
Oh, now it's 100%, Paul. I am 100% committed in this. I am in this. But obviously, there are some days when you don't feel 100%, right? Some days you don't feel the sunshine. I think it's those days be the sunshine. I believe in that.
Well, if you live in Canada, you've got a damn good excuse there.
That's so funny. Absolutely.
Right now, I move to the bit where actually I ask you for my 3 wishes. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We're on a trailblazer. She's about to jump out of the lamp. So here we go. Number 1, what has been the best advice you have received in your life?
Master yourself.
Wow. Yeah, that's easy to write down and remember. I love it.
Yeah, I think it's very, very important to understand yourself, your habits, your dislikes. Who do you like being around? Whose energy you're around? When you're around, you notice your own vibration going up, right? These little things will really help you feel fulfilled while you're out there accomplishing things.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. I mean, I could just stop right now because that was like 3 wishes in one. So, but I'm greedy. So I'm going to go on to my second wish. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I would tell myself that you're not alone in this. That success is a team sport. Anything you choose to do in life, whether that's even like, for example, playing a sport, you're not alone. Like I grew up with coaches. I always had a trainer, right? But I would keep reminding myself that success is a team sport and you're not alone. Reach out.
That I can see banners on highways with that phrase. Quick patent it now. And everyone, you heard it here first, and Aanchal said it, so you can't steal it. So wonderful. I mean, wow.
Thank you.
I'm almost embarrassed to ask my 3rd wish, but not enough not to ask it. Here we go. So can you share with us one personal habit that attributes to your success?
Relentless pursuit of well-being.
Can I just pick myself back up off the floor here? That's 3 hits and 3 home runs. That's wonderful.
Thanks, Paul. I genuinely believe that. I think we may have grown up in limited beliefs or in different environments, but the truth is, I believe that everyone is doing the best they can. I think our parents are doing the best they can when they're raising us, given the resources that they do have. But at some point, right, you have to take ownership of how you're feeling and where you're at. Like going back to taking 100% responsibility for my life and the results I produce. Where I am today is not because of, my failures, everything. I also look at failures as gold. Like every failure has gotten me here today, right? Looking at failures like gold is very important. But like, even when it comes to mental health and your well-being, that's feedback. That's feedback if you're not feeling good, that something needs healing.
Yeah. Now, if something isn't aligned, then you can't expect the engine to turn over perfectly. Everything has to be working in sync. So I love that. I love that. So this is going to be one which I think I already know the answer. What book would you like to recommend? Hold it up again. Go on. This is your chance.
I would love to recommend the book Success Strategies. As a matter of fact, if anyone is watching and you would like to receive a free digital copy of my excerpt from this book, I will email it to you completely free of cost. My excerpt from the publishing company won Editor's Choice Award. And actually, Paul, this is if I may, I'd love to
please
share.
Go for it. You're on a roll.
Thank you. You're so sweet. I will be receiving an award this September for my excerpt from this book. It is an award called the Quilly Award from the National Academy of Best-Selling Authors based in California. So this conference is going to be held in LA, and it's held at the Hotel Roosevelt, I believe. But it is an opportunity. It's so incredible. I'm so humbled because of my excerpt in this book being recognized. It has helped people that did read it. And so if you send me an email at aanchal@reachouttogether.com or info@aanchalvash.com, my team will send you a copy of my excerpt completely free of cost, just to thank you for watching this video and encouraging this amazing work that Paul is relentlessly pursuing.
It's kind of nice to be on your team, to be honest. I mean, wow, congratulations, first of all. That's amazing. Well done. I mean, wow. Well, look, keep us and everyone posted about how that goes and everything. So that is amazing.
Thank you.
So look, where the hell can we find you? Where do you hang out?
Email right now is the best way to reach out to me. Social media is there, but I am honestly very, very busy, Paul. Like, social media is great. I do have help, people that actually help me manage it as well. But email is definitely something that works the best. The best email would be Aanchal@reachouttogether.com or info@aanchalvash.com. You can also find me on social media, which is @AanchalVashTraining. And yeah, come say hi. Let me know that you watched this podcast. Yeah. And Paul was the host, so I know, and I'll get back to you.
And also, I know you hang out a bit on Clubhouse as well, just as a
yes.
So if you want to find Aanchal on there, follow her and jump into one of the rooms. I've been in a few, and they are fantastic. So please go and check that out. You will not regret it. So wow. Well, look, summing up. Oh my goodness. A trailblazer who now is punching well above 100%, and honors honors the gifts which haven't always appeared to be gifts, but has turned them into something to celebrate and to honor everyone and the world. And I think that's a beautiful way to look at things. Aanchal, thank you so much for being today's wonderful Genie. Did you have fun?
I did have fun. This was incredible. Thank you so much for having me. It is honestly such an honor to be here.
You're not meant to make me blush. That's not the deal. So, so thank you once again. And look, guys, if I hope you had some really good takeaways today. I've really enjoyed talking to Aanchal. You know where she is now, and get that extract for goodness sake. And we'll see you next time. So thank you now, and thank you very much, Aanchal, once more.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
See you later, guys.
Bye for now.
Well, that's a wrap. You have been listening to yet another episode of the Release the Genie podcast with host Paul Rogers. Be sure to follow Paul on the LinkedIn platform and learn more of Paul's resources at www.takeactionacademy.ca. And until next time, as always, be mindful and be sure to release your genie. Thanks for listening.